Okay, we're going to use factorization to simplify the following algebraic fraction. So what I'm going to do is, if we see factorization, I'm going to write down my four types of factorization. 1, highest common factor. 2, difference of two squares. 3, quadratic. And 4 would be a grouping. Now, I'm going to just pick the top of the fraction here. I see 4e squared minus 9, and I'm going to write that there. And I'm going to examine which type of factorization would work for this particular expression. Now, a highest common factor, I can't think of a term that divides into both, so we'll discount that. A difference of two squares, that's definitely a possibility. A quadratic, I don't think so. A quadratic is generally 3 terms, and grouping, that's generally 4 terms. I only see 2 here. So I'm going to go with the difference of two squares. So the first thing I do is write a little bracket squared minus a little bracket squared. And what number squared gives you 4? That would be 2. And what letter squared gives you e squared? That would be e. My minuses come down. And what number squared will give you 9? That would be 3. I then write 2 brackets side by side, and 2e squared is first. So I'm going to put one of the 2e's here, and I'm going to put the second 2e just there. It's a difference of two squares, therefore I need two different signs. I'm going to go plus here, therefore I have a minus here. And 3 squared becomes second, so I'm going to put the first 3 here and the second 3 here. And 4e squared minus 9 is a difference of two squares, and we factorize it to give me these 2 brackets here. And I'm going to sub those 2 brackets in here in 1 second. Is that okay? But before I do that, I must factorize the bottom of the equation. So our fraction, I should say. Now again, we'll go through our checklist. Is it a highest common factor? I cannot think of a factor that would divide into all 3, so I will rule that one out. Is it a difference of two squares? A difference of two squares is generally 2 terms, and this is 3. I'll rule that also. Is it a quadratic? A quadratic is generally 3 terms, so it's definitely a possibility. Or could it be grouping? A grouping is generally 4 terms, and this is 3. I'm going to rule that out, so I'm going to use the quadratic technique with this one. And here's how we do that. First of all, I need 2 terms that multiply together to give me 2e squared. And that would be 2e multiplied by e. 2e multiplied by e is 2e squared. Now 9 here, I need to think of my factor pairs. 9 could be 9 multiplied by 1, or it could be 3 multiplied by 3. And I'm going to try 3 multiplied by 3 in this instance. So I'm going to put 3 here, I'm going to put 3 here. And let's see what happens when we cross multiply them. That's my big X. 2e by 3 is 6, and e by 3 is 3e, beg your pardon. Now, so I've got 2e multiplied by e is 2e squared, and 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. We're making good progress, and I now have 3e and 6e, and underneath here I'm going to write down this term here plus 3e. Now I need to pick 2 signs that would either plus or minus, that would give me a plus 3e, and it would be minus 3e plus 6e. So let's just transfer those signs over. That minus comes over there, and that plus comes over here, and I'm going to test it all out again. Is 2e by e 2e squared? It is. Is a plus by a minus? It is. Is 3 by 3 9? It is. Is minus 3e plus 6e plus 3? It is. So that all works out, and I'm going to bracket the top and bracket the bottom, and we have 2e minus 3 e plus e 3 in our 2 brackets. So that leaves me now with the last part. My fraction up there, I'm now going to bring down here. Now 4e squared minus 9 we factorized to that, which was 2e plus 3 and 2e minus 3. And our 2e squared plus 3e minus 9 factorized into that. So I'm going to write that in underneath, and it's starting to take shape here. The final thing is this, is can I think of any of these terms that divide into each other? And 2e minus 3 divides into 2e minus 3, so I'll divide those in, and I am left with 2e plus 3 on top and e plus 3 on the bottom, and that is that term there. It's factorized, so we used factorization and we simplified it. In other words, we made it a shorter, more simple term. So we started with that and we're finishing up with that, and that is it factorized, and that is it simplified using these 2 factorization techniques. And that is the question complete.